Hello there YouTube, this is the Aqua Student, and I'm here with my next project. Thanks to you guys, last year I was able to win the LED Group Buys contest. With that, the prize was a $100 gift credit to the LED Group Buys store. So with that I was able to pick up all this equipment. And with that I'm going to be building an LED fixture, dimmable LED fixture, for the 29-gallon tank. Let's do a little bit of inventory. The base of the project will be this 24-inch extruded aluminum heat sink. Good, I said it correctly that time. That'll draw the heat off the LEDs and keep them nice and cool. These LEDs that I'm using, I got a dozen of them. They're the CREE XT-E cool whites. It's probably my favorite spectrum for growing plants. It's around 6,000 to 6,500 kelvins. It's a good light in my opinion, especially for plants. It's not too yellow and kind of has enough of the blue sheen to show off a lot of the colors of the plants and fish, while also providing the correct spectrum for the plants to grow. So I've got those guys. I'll be checking, make sure they work soon. I've also got a 40-watt Inventronics driver that's dimmable. These I'll be hooking it up to a potentiometer to be able to dim these LEDs to get them to the right brightness that I'd like. I also have some optics and a couple other random parts around here, including thermal adhesive, which is my next project once I find them. But yeah, I'm going to test these LEDs, make sure they work. I've already got it marked out in dry erase marker where I'm going to place these guys. And yeah, so I'll be evenly spaced about 2 inches apart, and that should give me about 60 or so lumens or par on once I get this all set up. And that'll put me in about the medium light range. I can of course dim it down a little more or higher depending on how I find the balance with the tank. So that'll be the project, and I'll get working on testing each of the diodes and make sure they all work. In order to test each of the diodes, I've got this soldered together 2 AA batteries, and each of the leads coming out red positive, black negative, and I can figure out how, or just to check to make sure each of these diodes work. So yep, just positively to positive terminal, negatively to the negative. Here's a quick overview of attaching the LED stars to the heatsink. I'm using Arctic Silver thermal adhesive. It's 2 compound. I don't know what exactly to call it. Adhesive, and mix in 1-to-1 quantities. Do small batches at a time because this stuff cures within a couple minutes. Use a little spoon, put a little bit on the back, and place it where you want it to. You want to clamp it down as well. I'm using rubber bands on the heatsink to help adhere it and clamp it at least for the first 20 minutes to an hour, depending on how long you want to actually hold it. Make sure when you use this stuff to put the LEDs exactly where you want them, because this is a very permanent adhesive, and it's very likely that once you put these guys down, they will not be moving ever again. So I'm going to be wiring these guys in series, and because of that I have all the positives in the same direction, all the negatives. That way I can just wire it simply plus minus all the way down the row. Nice and simple. I believe I'm finally starting to get the hang of this. While you're waiting for the LEDs to cure, or the thermal adhesive to cure, you can cut out the strips of wires that you'll need to connect the LEDs and pre-tin them. So I've got these all sized out. It's the same distance between each of the LEDs roughly, so I'm using the same size wire. And you want to pre-tin them, which will help make the connections later on. I'm not an expert on soldering, so if you are looking for tips on how to solder, you can search other YouTube channels. I'm I'm learning as we speak. I'm getting better at it, actually. If you look at the first ones compared to the last ones, but it's a tricky thing, and I'm not very good at it. So I'm just gonna keep working at it and take my time with it. That's really the figure out what works. The next part was wiring together each of the LEDs. Went together pretty easily, actually. Not too bad. Not the best solder in the world, so it's not all that pretty, but works. Also ran wire from the end up back to the DC, I guess, ground or whatever you want to call it, that runs to the driver. That's what it's called. And I also hooked the driver into the front. The idea is to mount this inside the canopy, somewhere in there, and I also soldered in the potentiometer. It was pretty easy to hook up. Hopefully I wired it correctly, and I'll have that poking out of the back of the fixture as well. That'll be kind of one of the last projects to get it before painting. Next thing I'm doing is hooking up the plug and hoping it works. So let's get the AC part of this circuit going and see how that goes. So here with the moment of truth, my dad's recording, trying to figure out the camera, and there to call the ambulance if I need it. So, got the plug, everything worked in. And, oh, that's bright. That is really bright. Woo, it works. First time too. Here's the final reveal of the LED fixture. Got it all hooked up, ready to go, or all working. Got 12 LEDs up there, the CREE XT-E's, I believe. Cool whites. Nice potentiometer. I still haven't drilled the hole in the back to mount the potentiometer, but let's see if how well the camera picks up the dimming. It's going to keep adjusting, so you can see kind of the change in the light levels. It's going down. This is the lowest setting, all the way up to the max. So, picture's looking great. Looks nice and sleek. The gloss black paint coating on the canopy fits in nicely. Makes a tank look nice and sleek. So this is the final reveal of the DIY LED fixture. All I have left to do is drill the holes for the potentiometer and mount that, but that won't be that big of a project. So, thanks for watching.